I'm Chris Stronsky, and this is my golf journey. Golf is a sport made up of 9 to 18 holes and is a large open air based course. The aim of golf is to get the ball into the hole with as little amount of strokes possible. The winner is determined by who can complete a course in the fewest shots. Students of the class were required to play golf, record themselves, and then compare this footage to a professional. Then they were required to give themselves feedback on how they could improve. Our instructions were to focus on finding a technique that we felt comfortable with and completing shots from 9 to 3 o'clock, aiming for cones at 30 metres, 50 metres, and then 70 metres. As shown here, this is professional golfer Adam Scott. This was the player shown to the class to help compare and improve our game. From the start, we can see in the video that Adam has a very wide stance and is slightly bent over. This allows him to get a better and lower center of gravity, which would be positioned over his feet, otherwise known as the base of support. This will ultimately create a better stability throughout his swing. Now, as we watch his swing and we see him reach 9 o'clock, pause. As we see him reach 9 o'clock in his backswing, we can see that the toe of the club is facing directly up. This was a cue that we would later focus on ourselves. This is the toe. As the video continues, we see Adam complete his full backswing. This means the process of summation of forces has already begun. Summation of forces is the movement of bigger muscle groups to smaller muscle groups, ultimately allowing the greatest momentum through the swing to hit the ball as far as possible. In golf, summation of forces starts from the base of support and works its way up the body until it reaches the hands, which are gripping the club. As we can now see, his hips have rotated and his arms cocked back, ready to start the swing and follow through. On the way through his swing, we can see his body start to shift forward and the club start to come down back in the direction of the ball. At the point of contact, Adam's body is in a forward position and has transferred most of his weight from his back leg to his front. However, his base of support positioning has not really changed. Once the ball has been struck and Adam reaches 3 o'clock in his swing, we can clearly see that all his weight has now been transferred onto his front foot, with his back being there for stability. By the time we see Adam complete his full follow through, his body is in a very upright position and his body has twisted to the direction he wanted to hit the ball. This shot right here was basically our guideline. This shot was from my first round of videos and this was me aiming to hit the 70-meter cone. As you will see by my reaction at the end, well, I sprayed it. However, looking at this video, we can see a similar positioning of my base of support compared to the professional. As I reach 9 o'clock in my backswing, we aren't quite able to see the toe of the club and whether it's facing upwards or not. However, I can say that it wasn't. In this video, we are able to see my swing goes just past 9 o'clock, which of course was just a guideline, and I haven't really introduced any summation of forces into my swing. This is because there is very little movement in my legs, which is the starting point, and hips and shoulders. We also aren't able to catch the moment the ball is struck, but we will try our best. That's the closest we can get. However, stopping it just after shows a slight weight movement from back foot to front foot, but nowhere near enough. At the end of the follow through, we can see that my front foot has rotated, while Adam's back foot rotated. My hips were also turned to face forward to try and get the ball in a certain direction, but my body weight transitioned back onto my back foot, which you see there. And there is my reaction. The second round of swings was a lot better. I was able to go inside and give myself feedback on how to improve. I decided to focus on summating forces all the way through from the start of my backswing to the end of my follow through. As my backswing gets to 9 o'clock, about there, we can already see a largely different looking shot. My front leg has moved backwards, which has put most of my weight onto my back foot, and my shoulders have twisted. This was the creating of forces. Yet again, I wasn't able to perfectly capture the point of contact on the ball, and the camera angle wasn't perfect. However, if we can get it, that's as close as we can get. We can already see here that I've now transitioned my body weight forward and through my swing, and it is now resting on my front foot. As the full follow through is continued, there, I believe that I ended up in a very similar position to Adam. Front foot hasn't rotated, back foot has, hips and shoulders face in the direction of the ball, and I was quite happy with that. By this stage, I was beginning to become more and more accurate. The third and final round of shots. After reflecting on a rather successful second round, I still wanted to become more accurate. This was when the idea of shortening the lever, otherwise known as the golf club, came into action. Yet again, the start of the video shows a very similar stance to the other two and the professional. However, I'm just a bit more bent over due to the result of shortening the lever. As 9 o'clock reaches in the back swing, a much greater backwards movement in the front leg has occurred, which we can see here. Yet again, transitioning my body weight backwards to then come forward throughout the swing. My shoulders have also twisted, and these were the cues of the starting of the summation of force process. Like the previous two, just after the point of contact, we are able to see that my body weight has now transitioned from my back foot to my front. This allows me to get momentum through the ball and through the swing. As the follow through has been completed, we can see I end up in a very upright position, and my body has turned to face the way I wanted the ball to go. Data from this shot told me that the ball went a bit further than the 70-meter cone, but would have been more accurate if there was less power. As the Adam Scott video is being played again to compare it to my last shot, we can see that my stance is similar, my backswing, although it doesn't go as far back as Adam's, is very similar, and also my follow through and the position I end up in are all quite similar. However, as a great man once said, no golf swing is the same, but if they get the right result, no matter how messy they look, they can be classed as a good golf swing.